and welcome to the Study in Sweden and SI Scholarship live stream. We're so happy to have so many of you joining from YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's great to see you typing in the chat and letting us know where you're from. My name is Safi Sabuni and I work for the Swedish Institute, and we are organizing this live stream together with Study in Sweden. And with us, we have 3 scholarship holders, Tamar, TJ, and Brian. Say hi, guys. They will join us a little bit later and share their experience about applying for the scholarship, what it's like to study in Sweden at the moment, and they'll give you some nice tips and insights from their own experience. But before we go ahead and do that, we, of course, want to give you an introduction to the SI Scholarship for Global Professionals to let you know what it is, what the criteria are, and how to apply. We know that many of you will have lots of questions. Feel free to type them in the chat and we will go back and answer them afterwards. We might be able to take a few questions during the live stream as well. So do let us know what you are thinking about and we'll see what we are able to answer and cover during the live stream and what we will do, what we will be able to answer afterwards. All right, so with that being said, let's have a quick dive into the scholarship. And I'll share my presentation for you to see what we have on offer. Let's see. If it wants to show. Now, all right, the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. I'm guessing most of you have heard it who are joining today, but if you haven't, this is also a quick introduction to get you familiar with our scholarship. The scholarship is being provided to people who want to make a difference. It's a multidisciplinary scholarship for master studies in Sweden. So in Sweden, we have master studies that are a 1-year program or 2-year program, but most of them are starting in the autumn, and the scholarship is for the semester starting in the autumn. The scholarship cover about 750 English taught master programs. So that's quite a wide range of them, and from 30 plus universities across all of Sweden. The scholarship that we offer from the Swedish Institute is a fully funded scholarship, which means that we cover tuition fees that are paid directly from the Swedish Institute to Swedish universities. We also cover your living expenses during your time in Sweden. So you get a monthly stipend of 12,000 crowns per month, which is around the same amount that Swedish students spend for a month of studying. So it's with 12,000 a month, you're really able to get through a month in Sweden, paying accommodation, books, food, and all the expenses that you might have. We also provide a travel grant from between 10 and 15,000, depending on which country you're coming from. And we cover an insurance that covers against illnesses and accidents. But what's very interesting with our scholarship is also that we offer a membership to a network of scholarship holders. So no matter where you are studying in Sweden, you're able to connect with scholarship holders from all over the country. And we organize events throughout the years. We have a kickoff, we have a diploma ceremony, but we also have events to help you grow professionally and to build your network while you're here in Sweden. So this is something that our scholars do really enjoy, and where they get an opportunity to meet people, not only from their region and their countries, but from all over the world. And as an SI scholarship holder, your journey doesn't end when your scholarship ends. SI want to be in contact with their alumni, of course. So there's a global alumni network where you can still engage after your scholarship period to network even further with alumni from all over the world. And today, I think we're about 19,000 alumni. So it's a huge global network, and it covers not only scholarship holders, but professionals from all over the world. So the eligible countries of the scholarship, there are 41 countries or nationals where we cover the scholarship, and you can see them on the slide here. These are the people who, if you have a nationality from one of these countries, you're able to apply. But if you do not have a nationality from this country, don't be discouraged. Study in Sweden does have a scholarship database on their website. So you can always go on there and see what other institutions and other organizations provide for scholarship. And what you do is you go on to studyinSweden.se, and on the right-hand corner, you can choose your nationality and then go through the scholarship database and find scholarships that are targeted to your nationality. So if your country is not covered here, do have a look at the studyinSweden.se webpage for more information about other scholarships. But if you do, if you're one of the nationals of these countries, continue on to listen because we have a lot to offer you. So our target group, the aim of the scholarship is first and foremost to contribute to the UN 2030 agenda and to contribute to a positive and sustainable development in your home countries. So we want to provide scholarship to global professionals who have an idea and ambition to contribute to the positive development of their home countries. So for us, an ideal candidate is someone with a strong and relevant professional background. And when we say relevant, we mean in terms of the UN 2030 agenda. Now, it's a very broad framework that covers a lot of different goals in many, many different fields, which also makes our scholarship multidisciplinary. You can work in many different sectors and still be able to apply for the scholarship. We would love to have candidates who have a demonstrated leadership experience, either from employment or from civil society engagement. They should have the ambition and potential to bring change, as I mentioned, and experience from involvement in civil society or NGO sector. We do also want the scholarship applicants to have a clear idea of how the study program in Sweden would contribute to the change that you want to create in your country, as this is a very important mission for us to see how we can support your ambition and what you would like to achieve. Another requirement is also that you do have a professional experience of 3,000 hours. This professional experience of 3,000 hours is for the applicants from Asia, Africa, and South America. And for those from Eastern Europe, we would like to see that you have any professional experience. Now, there's a lot of information in this presentation, but you can find all of this on our website as well, where it's written out in our call for application. So who can apply? You have to be a citizen of one of the 41 countries that I showed previously. You also have to be admitted to one of the eligible master programs on time. So the application process for Swedish universities is currently open and closes on the 15th of January. So that's one key deadline for you to remember if you're interested in applying in Sweden and studying with our scholarship. 15th of January next month, you'll have to have applied for a master program. And on our website, si.se/scholarships, you'll find the list of 750 master programs that are eligible for the program, for the scholarship. So do go and have a look there. What's also important for us is that you should not have had a degree from a Swedish university previously. You should not have lived in Sweden for more than 2 years. And you should, of course, not have been provided an SI scholarship before. I think that goes a little bit without saying, but yes. So how do you apply? We do have a lot of material on our Facebook and on our website to really explain to you the application process and how to go about it. But as I mentioned, apply for a master program firsthand. That's super important. That's the prerequisite to apply for our scholarship. Make sure you do the process in a timely fashion, and pay the application fee to Swedish University sometime. And once you've done that, you can already prepare your scholarship application. So we have uploaded all the documents and templates that you need to submit for your scholarship application. You can prepare that already now, which is a proof of work and leadership experience form. There are letter of references that you'll have to submit, your CV, passport, or ID copy. So go onto our website, si.se/scholarships, and have a look at that already now. Our application portal opens in February, so you'll have approximately 2 weeks between the 12th and 28th of February to submit your application. But we advise you to not wait until then. You can already start preparing your application. So in this time span, you just have to upload your files and submit it. And the results will be announced in late April. And yeah, we're looking forward to see who will be our next scholarship holders. As I mentioned, you can read more on si.se/scholarship, where you'll find all the information, all the documents, and a very extensive FAQ as well. And you can see it there below as well. Fantastic. All right. That was it for my presentation. Let's see. I think it's time to bring in our scholarship holders so that they can also present themselves and share a bit about their experience. Fantastic. Hey guys, so nice to have you here. They've all taken time from their busy schedules as, master students and everything that you do on the side to come and share about their experience. I'm super happy to have you all here. How about you introduce yourself? Maybe we can start off with Tamar. Tamar, do you want to introduce yourself? Let's see. We can't hear you. I think you're all muted.
Do you hear me now?
Now we do.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our session. My name is Tamar, and I'm a journalist and media analyst from Georgia. I worked over 15 years in Georgia in my domain and also internationally. And currently I study at Lund University, which is in Kalmar. It's really a very, very good university. And I do my master's in media, democracy, and human rights.
Fantastic. Very nice to have you here, Tamar. Brian, do you want to continue on? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome here. My name is Brian from Kenya. An active technical project manager in focusing in information technology softwares. Currently, I am studying my master's in IT and management at a coastal city, University West. Very beautiful city. Thank you.
Fantastic. And TJ, you want to say hi?
Yeah. Hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I am TJ. I'm from the Philippines. I study a master's in molecular biology at Lund University. And back home, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. I work in academia. I started as a course and laboratory facilitator, and then later on proceeded to a more supervisory role as a clinical preceptor, where I mainly formulated training plan and supervise our medical technology interns.
All right. So I'm happy to see that we managed to get such a spread here today. Like we have Tamar within the media, Brian working in the IT field, and then TJ coming with the natural science. So it's really nice to see how broad the scholarship also is, and that you can apply in many different majors, right? So TJ, tell me, because you've been here, this is your second year, right? The second and last year.
Yeah.
What was your motivation to apply?
Well, part of my work as an academic staff in the university before was to participate in conducting field works where we implement health projects in underprivileged communities in the Philippines. And having that experience, I had firsthand encounters of people who are very sick but couldn't access proper care and medication. So I was like, what else can I do more to address this situation? So I thought of studying a medical related life science program abroad because I believe that it would broaden my perspective about the field. It will develop my skills and provide me a network, a global network to so I can further contribute to my home country. And as for the second question, why Sweden? Well, I have endless reasons for this, but on top of my head right now, it's because of its high-ranking universities that provide a perfect balance of theory and practice. I mean, Sweden as a country, it actively strives for a sustainable society. It is safe, it is inclusive, and I can say that it is a supportive environment for people with special needs. And I've proven that myself because I am type 1 diabetic and I need lifelong insulin treatment. And I can say that diabetes care and the medicines here are readily accessible.
Yeah, that's great to hear that you are able to experience not only like the academic side of studying and Sweden and how that works, but also what it does for your life, right? As a
Yeah.
diabetic or, experiencing healthcare and so on. So it's an all-round experience, I can imagine. All right,
Yeah.
Brian, tell us, why did you choose Sweden? Because you're from sunny Kenya, no?
Yes, yes, first time. Mine was mostly based on building digital products. Working in software companies, we've been building products, and these products, what their focus was to be user-centric and accessible by everyone. And one of the products I had to benchmark, and which is my one of my favorite products, was Spotify. Having to research about Spotify, I got Stockholm, and Stockholm, I got Sweden, and I got into deeper understanding the innovations that come out from Sweden. It was really fascinating because most of the innovations that come out of here are really revolutionary. You can see Volvo, you can see JKN spaces, airspaces. Most products are worth benchmarking because they value quality and they build the product in a sustainable manner. So coming from Kenya, my interest has always been building products that are accessible to the users. Uh, these products, well, my focus is in fintech, but then how could we use these products, or how could we build these products with the users in mind and sustainability in mind? And that's why having digging deeper, I got into Sweden, and that's how I came across this program. The experience here is phenomenal. Like it's not only about studying, mix of you studying the theoretical frameworks and also applying them like in real life. So it's important. That's really important because you can have a lot of knowledge, but without applying them, you won't feel the impact.
Yeah, yeah, that's great to hear. Tamar, tell us a little bit because you've worked for 15 years, you said, in the media field, and then decided to pursue a master's abroad. Like, what was your reason for doing this and your motivation to come to Sweden?
Yes, I worked as a journalist and also I worked as a manager of various programs related to media development, democracy issues, and human rights. And I had my university background, like degrees in journalism, but I worked 15 years. It was covering like not only media, but also democracy and human rights, the fields I worked in. And I was thinking to find a relevant program that would cover all three components because I don't see media as a separate part. It's like all these three are very interlinked. And and I was looking for that program, and it was actually the only program that I found. I was looking for different countries as well, and it was only in Sweden, only in this university, this media, democracy, and human rights, which was really covering my interests. But aside of this, I had been in Sweden many times before, not for studies, but just visiting country, and I really love Sweden. I like the culture, Swedish culture. I like Swedish fika. I like Swedish language. So there were many reasons for this for me.
You're right. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm really happy about this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think you all touched upon a little bit the lifestyle of Sweden. We will get into that very soon. But first, I would just love to dive a little bit into the application process and the SI scholarship, because you've all gone through it. And every year around 10,000, 8 to 10,000 people are applying for the scholarship. So do you have any strategy in mind in terms for like preparing your application? What did you do that you think, or that worked for you in preparing the application? Anyone who would like to start? TJ, go ahead.
I can start. Yeah. Yeah, I actually use a strategy when I was applying, and I call it 3 R's, the 3 R's. So, first of the R's is reflect. So, I ask myself questions like, am I professionally and academically qualified in the first place? What country specific problems do I want to address with, or do I want to provide a solution for? And I think this question goes with the question, what sustainable development goals are you working with, right? And it revolves around the question, why do you want the scholarship, why do you want to study in Sweden? And if the why is clear, then the how would be easy. And for the second R, it's read or research. Guys, you have no idea how much time I dedicated to read, research, absorb everything about studying in Sweden, about the SI scholarship. I mean, I first learned about the scholarship in 2019 from Ruben, who is a former digital ambassador as well from the Philippines. And I waited for 3 years. I prepared my application for 3 years until I finally decided to apply in 2022. And I mean, I literally copied the whole website, like copied word by word, put it into Microsoft Word, and printed it. Like I have this thick printed material when I was applying, and I was highlighting every key information in there that I think is important, especially the FAQ section, or the frequently asked question section of the website, because I mean the scholarship is very competitive. It has only 3 to 5% acceptance rate per year. So you have to do your assignment, right? You have to research, you have to read. And after I've read all the key information, and after I reflected on the why aspect of my application, then I started preparing my documents. I started writing, and I asked some of my trusted friends to review my application. And the third R is revise. Don't forget to revise your applications. I lost count already how many times I revised my application before I finally submitted it. So yeah, with those 3 R's, I managed to get the scholarship. So remember, reflect, read, or research, then revise.
That's great. 3 R's. I'm going to start promoting
Yep.
that. That's a good methodology. Tamar, how did you prepare? What was for your application?
Actually, these 3 R's are very important, even though I never thought about structurizing it as a 3 R's. But research is very important, and especially it's like maybe very banal that I'm like repeating this, but it's important to read instructions, because everything is usually there. Almost all answers are there in these instructions, and it's important to read the instructions because there are some details which can be very important while your application will be under revision. Another thing was there is this group for SI scholarships holders, not holders, but I think for everyone. It's for everyone. And I was asking questions there as well in that group, and some alumni were also responding this, and I was getting like different answers on this, and it was very important for me. As the application process, it's like motivation is very important, I guess. And it's important that your motivation is clearly linked to the SDG goals, to the certain goal. And once you are done with the motivation, and also it's important that ask yourself, do I really need to do this now? Or like in my case, it was because I'm like 38 and I have already career. So it was like crucial question, like, do I need to now convert my practical knowledge into academia and just go further and in Sweden? Because it's an amazing country, but of course, when you are moving in a new country, you should take into account how ready you are for this transition. But yeah, it's like important, these 3 hours, and also to be very careful about reading these instructions and to make always everything on time, of course.
Yeah.
And like stamps and everything what is written, the way it is written, because not all applications have the same instructions. And so it's like very important to go in these details.
Absolutely. Yeah. Application from one scholarship to another can look very different. All the information about the scholarship that you need to know is on the website. So if it's not on the website, then it's not important, I would say. But like everything that you need to know is on the website. And I know it's a long page, but it's important to read through. Brian, did you stumble upon any problems when you applied or in the process of preparing your application?
Yeah, several problems, but manageable. They, as we've mentioned before, like the web has a million. Like if you need information about something, you get the website. But I'll start with my first. I think I had 3 major problems. The first one was, of course, how do you write your personal statement? How do you write your essays, the ones that really put you like, different? Of course, you get to Google, you get different templates, but they are all generic. And I remember I had to put it off and say, okay, fine, because of how detailed the website is, this means that the scholarship requires me to also be detailed and authentic. So I did away
how
with
did you solve that?
the generic.
How did you solve that? What was the
Oh yeah,
process of
so
writing that statement, that
I
motivation?
had to. So on the application portal, you're given what you need to highlight, like you told. On your personal statement, ensure you highlighted the SDG goal you're interested in, why you're passionate about it, and there are that I had to write down a whole long page because there was a limit. I had a whole page and I had to then try to compress and bring in the right information into it. And I think I got the eureka moment when I had in that personification, like I had to include my own personal story and build a story out of it on why. Because you have to ask yourself, why am I doing what prompted me to do this? And that one answers a lot when it comes to writing your personal statements during the application. Of course,
That's a
getting
great.
references to work. Sorry?
Yeah,
Yes,
no, that's a good point
getting
as well,
references
getting
to.
references to work.
Yeah, that's when you have to reach out like Ali. Just you have that favorite person you're working with. Talk to them way on September when I saw this notice. I told them, you know what, I'm applying for this scholarship. I need it, and I've worked with you, so just I will need your help. and you get to prep them and always remind them of this, so that when it comes, because this is different and you have to be within the time when you're submitting this. And finally,
Yeah.
the anxiety, where you have to breathe in and out when you're waiting for the results. Was I selected or not? Or not? You have to breathe in and out, like breathe in and out, and just relax.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's a stressful process, and our advice from the Swedish Institute is always to start in time. Like, we publish the open call, the documents, the whole process in October for you to prepare all the way until February. So you do really have time to prepare for it and put together your application in a peaceful manner. And because you do need references, I need to write a reference letter, you need to collect stamps, it takes more than those 2 weeks that you have in February, right? You really do need to start beforehand. I think that's important. I see a question from YouTube here. If there's an age limit for the scholarship application. No, there's not. There's no age limit to study in Sweden. You just have to fulfill the requirements. So for a master's, for example, the requirement might be that you have a bachelor's degree, of course, but you have some level of English, and there's no age restriction when it comes to studying at University of Sweden or applying for our scholarship. So that you know that. Okay, that's great. That's so many great tips for our applicants. But I think one of the most important one is to not forget our website, to go and visit si.se/scholarships. I can't emphasize it enough, because that's where you will find all the information. And an important part is also, I think it was TJ who mentioned that he did so much research on like Sweden and what is Sweden and what is that like. And Brian was also mentioning like what's life like in Sweden and what is Sweden known for and so on. Study in Sweden has a lot of resources on what it's like to live in Sweden, to be a student in Sweden, to navigate the country and so on. So do check out Study in Sweden as well. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Brian and TJ do create content for Study in Sweden as well, so you might see them popping up there. And they have a blog on their website with lots and lots of stories of like how to find the specific foods, or what is life like, how is it to survive the winter, for example. And these are also questions that you care about, right? Especially when you're considering like, should I apply for this country? Should I apply for Sweden? Not only for the scholarship, but like, am I going to go to this country up in the north that is maybe very different from mine? So have a look at those resources as well. All right, we've talked a little bit about the scholarship. I also want to talk about like academic life in Sweden and what it's like to live and study in Sweden. And you've all made it. Congrats. Some just made it this year. Tamar and Brian just started this year, and TJ has been here for a while. But something I love asking all scholarship holders, like, what is your first impression? Like your first week in Sweden or your first week at university? What was your impression of where you are at? Who wants to start?
Yeah. Maybe I can answer first this question. Yeah. I remember when I came here last year, it was my first time actually to move out from the Philippines and actually leave to another country. And when I arrived to Lund, I was so amazed how beautiful the place is. Like I literally took photos of every building, of every street, and then sent them to my friends and family back home. Because to me, it's just so different from what I used to see in the Philippines. Like aside from the architecture, there is the transport system, there's the food, the people. Everything was so new, and it made me really excited.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah. And for my program and university, well, I really like my program because it's very research oriented. Also, I love the facilities, the laboratory and research facilities that we have, like the laboratory techniques that I only can read in journals when I was in the Philippines. Here, I can actually like use them, and the machines in the laboratory, the equipment, I can actually use them for my experiments. And Lund University, an amazing university. I'm so happy that I got in here because it's very international. It's like a melting pot of students coming from different parts of the globe, and meeting this diverse group of students and experiencing a little bit of their culture. To me, it's an amazing experience.
I'm happy to hear you're enjoying it, TJ.
Yeah,
So
really.
you have like another semester left, like half a year left.
Yeah, that flies so fast. Like
It goes really
I don't want to end it.
Yeah. How is it for you, Tamar? Like, you just started, so you're like 4 months into this experience.
Yes. When I arrived with my family, so with my children. And of course, it was much logistics to do, to register at school, at preschool, and so on. But first thing I did, I started Swedish language. So I started to learn Swedish because I thought it would be really good to interact with people like just on their own language. So that was what I first did, and I got very impressed about the university as well, especially the library where I am now, booking the room here. But it is very modern and very nice building, but also it has lots of supports to the students. So if you need support in academic writing or any improve any skills, you can actually get this support. It also has lots of other activities, like university has career center, like which offers based on your interest and career goal different plans for you. So it's not when you come here to study, it's not only studies and doing your own job, but actually you are getting lots of different opportunities on the way, and good friends, very nice people, very friendly people, I would say. Yeah, and for me, it was also very important that it's very child-friendly country. For my children, they love Sweden now, even though they didn't want to come very much because they had their lives, their routines, their schools, and everything. But they adapted so quickly, and the whole system works on this to feel adapted and to feel like as a part of the community, which is very important when you are international student, and especially if you go with your family.
That's great. And Brian, how was it for you? Like the studying and the programs, was it much different from what you're used to?
A huge difference. And well, as TJ said, it was his first time coming to Europe. It was also my first time actually moving out of my country and traveling that far. First, it was scary, but upon getting in, I think I was really impressed by the fact that the university actually cared about you, because you came in and you're told, go to this place, you're given your key, you're given your beddings, and you're told, go here. And then besides all that, you're told, because I had this impression in the academia world, you have to use titles, professor, uh, PhD, doctor, I mean, all those. And then here, the first introduction, I'm told by a very senior lecturer that, you know what, you can call me by my first name. And that one changes everything, because the experience is now more friendlier. You can have a conversation with the lecturer, you can have like project with the lecturer, and it changes the whole dimension. And the university giving you actual resources to work, because when you're working, for example, building a program, you are actually given a real life problem, and the visiting lecturers are actually working in the industry, and they tell you, this is what I work in, will you be interested to contribute contribute something into it, and you're like, wow, okay, this is not the academia world that I had in mind. So it's really impressive, and I really love it here.
Yeah, that's great. You were mentioning a bit like the real life examples that are brought into your studying and your education. How do you find that like practical exposure to, not only to have the theoretical aspect, but also to be able to do like get practical insights from the world of work that's around your university?
Absolutely. I'll give an example. Like the current course I'm doing is one of the specialization course, and it's on digital transformation. And the assignment is actually you have to work with a company, study their processes, and help them to come up with a digitalization plan. And this is different from, yes, you get to read how digital projects are implemented, but at the same time you are actually working with real companies. And then besides working, like currently working with a real company, my first class, I think we were brought in with guest lecturers. These guest lecturers were actually professionals from different organizations who are working in healthcare, and they come in, tell you, this is what I do, this is how we've implemented it. We would want you to contribute to it, and I've contributed, I think, to currently 2 projects, and the company that I'm currently working in my project, and these are local companies within Sweden. So yes.
TJ, how is it for
Mhm.
you? You study a very theoretical subject, let's say, if you can put it that way. What is the practical
Yeah.
exposure like in your field?
Yeah, so yeah, you're correct. That I'm studying a very theoretical program, but I like it because there's a great emphasis on the practical applications of the theories that we are learning in the lectures. Like we can do internships in the industry, in different research groups. And just like now, I'm on my second year and I'm having a 60 credit thesis. So it runs for the whole academic year, and I'm doing my thesis in the field of diabetes, and I'm working at Lund University Diabetes Center in the Clinical Research Center in Malmo. So that's very like it's a good way to apply your learnings from the lectures. And I also like the idea that the university the university values the ideas of the students that can be turned into uh, let's say a startup business, right? So these opportunities and these resources that the university is giving, and my program is giving, I really like them.
That's great. I'm looking at the chat, and if you have any questions for our for our scholarship holders, feel free to write them there, and we'll see what we'll be able to bring on. I also wanted to ask you, Tamar, how do you imagine that your experience here will impact you personally and career wise? Like, what are you hoping to get out of? I know you've just started, but what are you hoping to get out of this time in Sweden?
Yes, very important that this scholarship does not restrict you from work, and you can continue your career as well. Like if you can manage both, if you can manage your time, and here everything is really up to you how you self manage yourself. Even studies in Sweden, it's very different from many countries. That here it's everything is really up how you schedule your studies, and if you can also work. And for me, I think it will be important to fully shape my practical field experience and other knowledge and other academic knowledge into academia in Sweden and continue work on human rights, democracy, and media. My primary focus is post-Soviet Eurasian countries, and to continue on the level of research different causes of the backsliding in democracies in those countries which are covered under this region. And I hope I will have this possibility during my studies and maybe after as well on academic level here in Sweden.
Yeah, that's great. Brian, what are your expectations for your time here?
The global network that I'm creating here, I think the networking part is really important to me. And then the opportunity to actually practice the theoretical knowledge to like the real world, because my interest is building fintech products that are accessible to people everywhere in rural, in the most remote area you can think of, those who can't access the traditional kind of finances. This is currently giving me that experience in implementing this project, but then the broadening of the mind and to implement having a network that will support me to do the same and implement it to my to the target group. That is my desire. And of course, living with different people gives you a broader mind where you can get to live better and be happy.
That's great. TJ, you've gotten a bit further in your experience. What are you
Yeah.
hoping to like? What are you taking back after this 1.5 year, and what's your expectation regarding your like future career?
Yeah. You know what? Studying here, it opened my eyes into broader career options after studies. Like before coming here, I thought of doing research, specifically in the field of diabetes, as my key contribution to my home country, because my field of study is very research oriented, and also we don't have that much research data about diabetes among Filipino population. But when I got here, I got the chance to network with the industry, and that opened my eyes. Aside from doing research, I also now have considered the developments that can be done to my country outside the laboratory, like engaging to these global pharmaceutical companies to help or to provide accessible medicines to vulnerable communities, vulnerable countries like the Philippines.
Mm, that's great. We're
Yeah.
almost at the very end of the live stream, and I'd love to just give you an opportunity to give your final like advice. So imagine your best friend is considering applying. Like, what would your advice be to them?
I can go first. Yeah. So aside from the three R's that I mentioned earlier, like reflect, read or do your research, revise or review your application before finally submitting it, I would say be mindful of the deadline. Be mindful of the deadline and be yourself, be your authentic self, and do not pretend to be somebody else. The screening committee wants to know the real you. So, yeah, just be yourself, present your most authentic self, present your motivation, and be mindful of the deadline. That's it from me.
All right, Tamar.
I think be yourself is very important because this scholarship is very competitive scholarship, and it is important to see your individual motivation, your in who you are, and this is very interesting process as well when you go through this application process because you also find out lots of good characteristics about yourself and like really nice things that you want to highlight, and please feel free to highlight whatever you are proud of in your life, in your career. That's very much welcomed. Also, I think it's, of course, yes, deadlines. Also, about references, I can tell that you can get references from any previous employer or academic supervisors, or it's not very much limited in this regard also, and it's also quite good. It gives you like quite a range of references you can get with maybe employer you had like 10 years ago that could also work, or like someone from your previous university who was teaching you and knows your skills well, academic skills. So yes, and complete everything and submit, of course, on time, because deadlines are deadlines here. And be aware of Swedish winter as well. Maybe search a bit to answer the question how ready you are about coming in Sweden. Yeah, that's all. And I wish you all best luck.
Great. And Brian, you get a tough spot to add to this, but maybe you can also maybe you can also reflect on whether you think Sweden is for everyone, or is there a specific person that Sweden is for?
Okay. I am going to tell you this, that this journey is not easy. So I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It's tough, and when the tough gets, I've forgotten the word. But what I'm saying is everything that is tough is coming up with good fruit, and take this journey step by step. It's like it's not like turning on the light and turning it off like a spark. No, it's not. It's a journey. It's like falling in love, and the deadlines are dates, and there's personal statements. Are you talking about yourself and convincing Sweden? You know what? I like you. It won't hurt for you liking me back. So it's a step by step, and it's a journey. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Do not be afraid to speak out your authentic self, and do not be afraid to, because here everyone who will be reviewing your application is a human, and they want to know you from a human perspective, not the generic perspective. And is Sweden for everyone? I am going to be very, very honest with you. It is to many, yes, but it's not to all. Is the journey worth it? Yes, it is worth it. And the cold is really cold. It gets dark, but it's really beautiful. There are lights at night, so you won't get bored. And it's the real kind of Christmas for who has experienced snow. So you'll love it here. And of course, the your master's program, when you get selected, will be tough, really tough. So buckle up. You'll have to be really resilient, really be able to do beyond what the bare minimum. When you come here, you don't do your bare minimum. So you have to be sure that what you're doing is really what is your passion. Yes.
That's a great submission. You really have to believe in what you're coming to do here, and that's your passion. I think that's a great way to round this up. Thank you so much again for taking the time to share your experiences with our followers. I think they really appreciate it, and I see a lot of questions on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And we will go in and answer them afterwards. And for those that are directed to our speakers, we'll make sure to send them as well, so that if they like, they can go in and answer it afterwards, or send their answer through us. That's also a possibility. Don't forget, as I mentioned, to follow us on social media, to check out the resources that we have, the fantastic resources of studying Sweden that can really give you a big perspective on what it's like to study in Sweden. And of course, to go and check and do your research about our scholarship page, where you'll find more information on how to apply and the deadlines that are important, and so on. And so, yeah, thank you so much for joining and for taking this time to chat with us, speakers. Thank you so much for joining, everyone watching at home. We look forward to continue these conversations and keep sharing stories with with all of you. Have a nice Tuesday evening in Sweden, but maybe morning somewhere else. We'll see you
Hey,
around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.